Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Feature Friday. So one of the topics we've covered in the past is talking about gloves, and we've talked about them in a few different ways. We've compared leather versus synthetic gloves. We've compared some of the different winter glove liners. We've also talked about some of the heated gloves that are in the market. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of synthetic glove coatings, their applications, as well as their advantages and some of their disadvantages. So a couple key things to note about glove coatings before we kind of get into the individual types is that glove coatings are applied to safety gloves to improve their performance and protective capabilities, primarily grip and abrasion resistance. Different glove coatings are designed with specific tasks in mind, so it's important to get the right glove for the task. There's usually a positive correlation between the durability of a coating and its cost. So the more durable the coating, typically the more expensive it will be. That said, there are other factors that will often contribute to the cost of a glove. If you're talking about cut gloves, for example, if you have an A2 or an A6, A5, different kind of glove yarn liners, that will affect the price point as well. So it's not really a blanket statement, but it is a reference point to consider. So the wrong glove coating could compromise your grip or dexterity when you need it most, or it could lead to chemicals permeating through and coming in direct contact with your skin. So always good to keep that in mind when making some selections. Coatings themselves come in a few different formats, and we're going to be kind of covering that as we show some of the different products on the table here, but they are available in a full dip, 3/4 dip, and a palm dip configuration, depending on the use and protection of the glove. So today we're going to be discussing popular glove coatings that we stock here at MacMor, keeping in mind that this is a pretty high level overview and that there are a bunch of different variations of the coatings that do exist. And we're going to kind of touch on a couple little things, but overall you may see a lot of different things in the market. One important note we want to make is that while workplace hazards are inherently dangerous already, what can make them even more threatening is when workers don't really want to wear hand protection, either because they're not comfortable, because they're too bulky, or in some cases because they're having a reaction to the coating itself. Selecting the appropriate glove is really the best way to mitigate a lot of these concerns and to help ensure that the gloves will stay on at all times. So the first glove we're going to get into here is going to be a latex coated glove. Now latex coatings are available as smooth, crinkled, textured foam. So there's a few variants. The one that we're going to be showing here today is a crinkle latex because it is one of the more popular formats that we typically sell here. So this provides you with exceptional grip and dexterity for wet and dry applications. The crinkle texture provides enhanced abrasion resistance, handling rough materials with ease. It's flexible and durable across a range of temperatures, so you'll often see latex coating used in a lot of the kind of winter coated gloves or winter cut gloves. It has pretty good resistance against alcohols and some ketones, and generally it's used in construction, carpentry, general manufacturing. Now, one of the major drawbacks, of course, when it comes to latex is it can cause allergic reactions, and it has some limited chemical resistance in the presence of hydrocarbons and organic solvents. The next one we're going to talk about is a nitrile glove, and specifically we're going to show you guys one of the smooth nitrile coated gloves here. So a smooth nitrile is excellent substitute to latex for those people who are sensitive or allergic to the latex material. It's perfect for industries that require dexterity and precision. It's got protection against cut and abrasion at a natural point, although to a limit. Always keep in mind that the yarn itself is the primary protection for any kind of cut and abrasion at the end of the day. It's used in assembly lines, electronics manufacturing, automotive industries. It has the ability to repel oils and liquids, which makes it excellent for dry application, but talking about the drawbacks, it does not have the best breathability compared to, let's say, a foam nitrile, and really only provides that effective grip in dry application. So it's good that it repels liquids if that's what you're looking for, but keep in mind if you do handle anything that's relatively wet or oily, that you are going to be having absolutely no grip. It's essentially going to slide like crazy. So that is an important key thing to keep in mind. Now, if you're looking for something that will provide you with that appropriate protection in those environments, we're going to be talking about foam and microfoam nitrile right away. So this is a foam nitrile. So as you can see, it's got a little bit still of that shininess, but it has more of the texture. And so this is one example of something that'll give you a little bit more of the grip and protection when you're dealing with some of the bit more slippery surfaces. But the best thing you can really look for when you're dealing with oily or kind of more wet surfaces is going to be a microfoam nitrile. And as you can see here, it's got more of a matte finish. It doesn't really have that shininess, at least not the way that you see it here in the reinforced region. But this is going to be something that provides you with a step up above the smooth nitrile in terms of the grip and comfort. So microfoam technology creates a cushioning effect, providing enhanced grip in both dry and oily conditions, as the coating acts essentially like a sponge and it soaks up fluids to keep the hands dry. Now, that's kind of where you see a lot of these little micro pores, is where you kind of get that suction and that kind of cushioning with all the liquids. But if oversaturated, because it will act sort of like a sponge in a way, the glove can start to kind of feel a bit heavy and a little bit kind of cumbersome. So it is best to work in a more dry environment if possible. Now, the breathable nature of microfoam is also something that improves the comfort and reduces hand fatigue, which is great, and helps to keep the hand cool and less sweaty, which is ideal, especially in the hot summer months. It is able to withstand relatively extreme temperatures pretty well. To be honest, we've actually stuck different foam nitrile gloves in freezers and things like that just to do some testing, and it really does retain some flexibility quite well, which is great. Now, one thing to note is that while nitrile as a material, or microfoam in this case, it does have a bit of natural chemical resistance. If you're going to be going through extensive or prolonged exposure to any kind of particular chemical, generally speaking, it is best to look for something specialized in that format. Now, microfoam nitrile has a lot of different benefits, and so the drawbacks are actually pretty scarce on this one, but one thing we could mention is that it does have a lot of durability, so naturally a lot of microfoam nitrile gloves are going to be a little bit higher in cost. And another thing to mention is they do offer a little bit less dexterity versus a micron level coating such as polyurethane, just because the coating is a little bit thicker. But overall, it is a fantastic coating you can look at. Now, the next one we're going to talk on the roster, you're going to notice very quickly a lot bulkier looking versus some of these synthetic yarn gloves, but this is going to be a PVC coated glove. So PVC coatings offer outstanding resistance to a wide range of chemicals, including acids and caustics. It typically is used in laboratories, janitorial tasks, oil refineries, and it provides a barrier against liquid, preventing them from seeping through the glove, and it also doesn't lose its flexibility in colder temperatures, which makes it a fantastic glove for a lot of winter applications. Now, of course, some of the drawbacks related to this coating is that it's not effective for jobs that require much precision or dexterity, and not just because of the form factor of the glove that we're showing it on, which is kind of a larger work glove, but because PVC coating itself is quite thick. So you're not going to have that same feel, touch sensitivity when you're trying to handle any kind of small parts. So it is going to just be a little limited in that factor, but otherwise it does provide great protection. Now, the last coating we're going to talk about is the polyurethane coating. Now, this is a coating that you're not going to find on a lot of gloves that we stock here at MacMor, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But polyurethane, generally speaking, is a very thin coating, in some cases referred to as a micron level coating, and it provides excellent dexterity and tactility. As you can see, even just the pattern and the look of the yarn, as soon as the coating comes into play, the coating is so thin that it actually pretty much mimics that exact same pattern and feel. So very, very, very lightweight coating, which again is what gives it that fantastic touch and feel when you're handling small parts. Now, usually quite cost effective, and it's good for dry and oily applications similar to your nitrile coatings. It has no latex proteins, so no allergic reaction should take place based on a latex reaction. Now, some of the drawbacks, of course, is that it is somewhat permeable and has that weak liquid and chemical resistance, especially because of how thin it is. Now, one major thing we need to talk about when it comes to polyurethane coating, which is the key reason why we don't typically stock a lot of this stuff at all through MacMor, is that a lot of polyurethane coatings are solvent-based, which uses DMF, dimethylformamide, a cancer-causing material. There's a lot of research that's been done on that, and in a lot of cases you'll see on different gloves that when they have certain polyurethane coatings, if you invert the gloves, there's a bleed through that happens through the coating, and essentially that goes right against the skin, and as you start to sweat, or if you're getting really warm and just generally your pores open up, you have exposure directly to this to your palm, and which for some people can start to cause itchiness, rashes, and all sorts of different dermatitis related issues. Now, That being said, there are water-based polyurethane gloves that do exist. And we have an example of one here, which we do stock. So this particular glove is DMF free. And so it is a polyurethane coating. It does have the same benefits of your typical polyurethane. But the thing is because it does use a different formula to get that polyurethane, it typically comes at a bit of a higher price point, but it is, in our opinion, a higher quality product. And if you were to invert this glove, as you'll see, you're not gonna get that same bleed through, which is really great to see. So in a nutshell, those are the main coatings that we carry here. As mentioned earlier in the video, there are a lot of different kind of variations and formats that do exist. So one of the common variations you're gonna find on some coatings is going to be dotting pattern. So as you can see from this particular example we have here, you have a bunch of little dots in a coating material. Sometimes it'll be applied, in this case, for example, on top of an existing coating. In other cases, you may see dotted patterns directly on a fabric such as a string knit glove. Now, the dotting generally is meant to help against abrasion, wear and tear, but in some cases, for example, if you're having dots on a string knit glove, it will help to enhance some of the grip because you're introducing something other than the base fabric. So this is one example, and again, there's going to be others that you may see. There are variations in, for example, latex gloves that we mentioned, where it's not just necessarily a crinkle texture, but it's going to be layered and kind of textured, smooth kind of lines. So there's all sorts of things you'll see in the market, so keep that in mind. Again, this is a high-level overview that we're doing here today. So at the end of the day, the right glove will not only help you with your task, but also increase your level of safety and productivity. So if you're still not sure what glove is best suited for your needs, MacMor offers glove audits, and you can email our inside sales team or reach out to a sales rep directly if you have one, and we'll be happy to set something up where we can kind of do some evaluation with you. We often partner with some of our vendor reps to kind of do the glove audits with certain products and certain key things in mind in terms of application and job tasks. So if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to set something up for you. And as always, we're open to suggestions. If there's any kind of particular topic or product or subject matter that you'd like us to try to tackle on the next time, don't hesitate to leave a comment below and we'll take a look at that and always assess for future content. And of course, if you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out greatly and it shows that we're on the right track with the content on the channel. So thank you so much, guys. Enjoy the weekend, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.